The chance to replay out your past and actively shape your future is a dream to many, and Where the Heart Leads, you get to do just that. But while it invites you into its world through magical realism, it fails to maintain any intrigue in the mysticism it does have. The quaint small town and decent dialogue aren't enough to make up for the poor pacing, dull plot points, and underutilized mechanics that lead me to nowhere interesting enough to justify my 10-hour journey home. Despite an over-the-top beginning involving falling down a sinkhole and meeting a ghostly version of your brother, but as a child, things take a mundane turn and veer off into boring. World building aside, Where the Heart Leads is mechanically underwhelming. Yes, this is a story game, but mechanics can still go a long way. Picking up collectible notes does little to move things along, and interacting with objects rarely goes beyond holding down a button to pick up materials or construct an entire garage almost instantly out of thin air. However, one of the most appealing aspects of Where the Heart Leads is when it does leverage the core gameplay of interacting with objects and making choices to carry out sim elements. Something as simple as getting dressed with clothes from your dryer got me momentarily more invested in Wit as not just a character, but my character. Likewise, some choices shape how the environment looks, from which businesses bloom and what kind of art decorates the city of Carthage, to where you and your family live. These moments gave me direct ownership of the town and my life. I could point to areas of the environment and tell a story about how they got there, and it's a story I had a direct hand in. The small town and familial drama is extremely middling for the vast majority of the journey. Part of the problem is the lack of groundwork for why I should care about the people in Wit's life other than their relationship titles. As Wit, I cared about my in-game brother only by heavily projecting my own real-life relationships onto him, but there's nothing in-universe that cultivates our relationship as something meaningful, unique, or intimate. I found myself falling into roles because they were assigned to me more so than feeling an obligation to these supporting characters. By nature of its genre, Where the Heart Leads lives and dies on its writing, and by the end, it was hanging on for dear life. There are numerous conversations that could be reduced to just a few lines telling the player what to do next that are instead lengthy discussions. This lack of brevity made me less inclined to comb over found documents or strike up optional conversations because I'd become fatigued by the critical path dialogue. Where the Heart Leads' music didn't help in this regard, with melodies akin to a meditation app. When combined with the overwhelming walls of text divided across back and forths that never seemed to end, I found myself quite literally falling asleep while playing. It's a shame because, with a few exceptions, the dialogue is good. From chatting up the local bartender and talking to real estate agents to hashing out problems with my family. Where the Heart Leads explores capitalism, art, and familial obligation in a way that feels authentic and candid. I found myself relating to sentiments, weighing my options, and was even moved by a number of lines. One of the biggest compliments I can give to Where the Heart Leads is that it often manages to avoid basic decision binaries. While you're often given just a few options, 9 times out of 10, those choices aren't objectively good or evil. Right and wrong often come down to a matter of perception rather than societal norms and common sense, which made me more invested in the outcomes. Despite everything, the last third of Where the Heart Leads finally gets its footing. The increase in movement in terms of the narrative and environment finally keeps the intrigue alive. I didn't have a chance to get bored because I was constantly being pulled into new situations with characters who finally became well-rounded. Unfortunately, the bulk of Where the Heart Leads feels far more static despite some environmental changes, specifically your time as a teenager and at your first house. And without giving anything away, the overarching plot is more confusing than intriguing in its approach to mystery and open-ended circumstances, which makes the ending a bit unsatisfying. In short, Where the Heart Leads has decent writing, some fun sim integrations, and a few interesting plot lines, but these qualities are eclipsed by how slow-paced and unfulfilling the majority of the adventure is. Be sure to read the full review, linked in the description below. And for more reviews of narrative games, check out my review of What Comes After and McKee. For more of my gaming opinions, be sure to tune into Best of 2021 Watch, where I play the latest games in search of the greatest games of 2021 every Friday at 3 p.m. PT on twitch.tv/Gameonasis.